In the previous class, we have seen the determinants of demands, or the demand is the result of various determinants we have seen. Okay, the demand is determined by these other factors that can be represented as a demand function. Demand function, demand for commodity X is nothing but function of various determinants of the demand. Price of the related commodity, price of the commodity, income of the consumer, price of the substitute commodity, price of complementary commodity, and the taste and preferences of the consumers, cost incurred for advertisement. So depending upon these factors or determinants, there will be change in demand. Can be represented in simple term, demand function here. Hope so you can understand what is called demand function. Then we have been given law of demand. In this class, my focus is to make to understand the law of demand. Law of demand. When it comes to the law of demand, remember, other things being equal, otherwise ceteris paribus, we link the change in quantity demanded with respect to the change in price only. Okay, price of the commodity, demand of the commodity X due to the price of the commodity X. I am going to connect only these two. Do I connect the demand of the commodity X and these factors? No. We are not going to deal the law of demand here. We confine the law of demand by linking these two only. What are they? Demand of the commodity is linked with the price of that commodity only. That will be studied in law of demand. Is that okay? So price of the commodity and quantity demanded of such commodity will always be inversely related, and other things being equal. Other thing means all these things will be equal. That will not have any impact. There is no any change in income, price of the substitute, price of the complementary commodity, and the taste and preference of the consumers, and cost incurred for advertisement. We need to make a change only in the price of the commodity. Because of the change in the commodity, what could be the change in the quantity demanded? What could be the change in demand? No. Change in demand. I am not talking about the change in demand. I am talking about the change in quantity demanded. Always link QD. You have to keep that QD in your mind. Other things being equal. Stating that the other things being equal in other language is termed as ceteris paribus. If the price of the commodity falls, and the quantity demanded will increase. Quantity demanded will increase. Is that okay? In a vice versa case, if the price of the commodity increases, quantity demanded will be decreasing. So these are the two terms you have to understand. This is called law of demand. Is that okay? Very simple. You can keep this point in your mind. Ceteris paribus and the link between price and quantity demanded. How is the relationship? Inversely related. Between these two, which is the independent factor, which is the dependent factor. Price is independent factor and quantity demanded is dependent factor. The other way is not true. So in law of demand, these 3 points to be kept in your mind being other things being equal, number one. Second point, if the price of the commodity falls, the quantity demanded will rise, and if the price of the commodity rises, the quantity demanded will decrease. Note. This was defined by Alfred Marshall. This above definition, the law of demand, is as per the view of Alfred Marshall, and the relationship between the price and quantity demanded is inverse or indirect proportion. And between these two, price is independent variable and quantity remainder is dependent variable. So you have to keep in mind. Now let me explain about the law of demand with the demand schedule and demand curve. Is that okay? Demand schedule and demand curve. Now, demand schedule. It's an imaginary number. It's not practically we are applying these numbers. We understood that price will have the impact on quantity demand. Price and quantity demand will be having some link. Based on the link, we will design ourselves some numbers here. That will be called a demand schedule. If the price of any commodity, we will assume any commodity being 5 rupees, we assume that the quantity demand could be 10 rupees. As per the law of demand, if the price decreases from 5 to 4, definitely as this decreases, quantity demand should increase, right? So we will now increase the quantity demand from 10 to some number extra, 12, 13, 14, whatever it may be. But it is assumed in this illustration as 15. So in your examination, if you are asked to write the demand schedule, you can imagine your own number. So there is no harm in hard and fast rule that you have to replace the same number available here. Right, anyhow, such questions may not be expected. But if you are asked to write about the demand curve, you can put your own numbers. Higher the price and lower the quantity demanded, and vice versa. Higher the price, lower the quantity demanded. If the price decreases further to 3, then the quantity demanded increases from 15 to 20. If the price decreases from 3 to 2, the quantity demanded increases from 20 to 35. And then the price decreases furthermore, quantity demanded will increase. For each and every combination to be represented as ABCD, which is not required at all to keep in your mind. If I represent the point A, it represents the price being 5 and where the quantity demanded is 10. That's it. Such a way, if I am putting that in a tabular format, the link between the price and quantity demanded, which is called demand scale. This is called demand scale. Is that okay? Hope you could understand. Now this will be plotted in the graph. After plotting that in the graph, if we connect the lines, that will be called as demand curve. So you have to understand the difference between demand schedule and demand curve. Demand curve is nothing but after putting all these things in, graph will be called as demand curve. If the price being 5, quantity demanded is 10. So remember, always the x axis is for units, y axis is for rupees. Remember, y axis should always, usually in economics, is for independent variable, and x axis is for dependent variable. Between these two, price and quantity demanded, which is the independent variable? Price. So price should be kept in the y axis. How can you keep that in your mind? Y axis independent, right? So independent. You can easily link that y axis having the vertical line represents like I for independent variable. So if it is out of your memory, you can easily now guess that I column means that y axis should be for independent factor. If we have two, so in demand schedule, price being the independent factor can be assumed in y column, and the next one is the dependent one in the x column, x axis. Now for the point A, price being 5, quantity demanded being 10. So for this A, this is the A, price being 5 and quantity demanded being 10, isn't it? Okay. Similarly for point B, 4 and 15. So 15 should be anywhere here. This is the point. Is that okay? This is the point. And for 3 and 20. For 2 and 35. Okay. So that's how we can connect the points. This is point B, this is point C, this is point D. And when it comes to E, 1 rupee and 60. This is E. Okay. So all these 5 points connected to draw the curve here. That is called demand curve. Okay. Now, you no need to, if you are asked to write about the demand curve, you just write this way. That's more than enough. I can name this being DD curve, demand curve, DD. Starts with the D and ends with the D. To differentiate, I can start with the capital D and ends with small d. That way also you can post here. Demand curve. Demand curve slopes downward, that too from left to right. That's called law of demand. Slopes downward, right? It slopes downward. This is left side, this is right side. So it moves from left to right. Price decreases, quantity demand increases. So you have to understand the demand curve also. So demand curve slopes downward and it moves from left to right as law of demand. This is called law of demand. This is all about individual. In the case of market, is that okay? Now what happens in the case of market? In market we have n number of customers, right? For example, for rupees 5 the quantity demanded being 10. Is the quantity demanded of one of the customers assumed to be A. By the same time, with the price being 5, some other customers, let us assume B, demands only 8. The another customer who is C demands 12 units also. Now my question is, what is the market demand? It's nothing but summation of the demand of all the customers in that market. So 10 plus 8 plus 12, 30, that is called market demand. So sometimes you may be asked to differentiate between the individual demand and market demand. Individual demand is the demand of a particular customer with respect to the stated price. And when it comes to the market demand, it's a summation of the demand of all the customers put together. That's called market demand. You can plot that in the graph. That graph will always be called as demand curve. That demand curve slopes downward and falls from left to right. So add up the various quantities demanded by the number of consumers in the market is called market demand. And this is called market demand schedule. This is market demand curve. There is no any big difference between the demand curve and demand curve of individual as well as market. Both are same. Only thing is summed up value. Come on, make a note of these bullet points like, okay, even in Singar Academy text I have given only the bullet points. You can easily keep those bullet points in your mind so that you can handle it easily. Come on, make a note of it. The law of demand means, why does demand curve slopes downwards? If I put that question, yeah, of course you can think your own logic. Anyhow, there is already available logics available. Means already available logics also exist. Alfred Marshall says his own dimension, and Hicks and Allen also says his own dimension. As per Alfred Marshall, if you are very much interested to buy, for example, if you want to purchase an apple and you are carving, you're feeling so starvation, you're so hungry, you want to eat something, that only apple available. And then the shopkeeper says that per apple costs us rupees 50. Per apple costs us rupees 50. You are so hungry, you need to have some food immediately. Now you are willing to purchase the apple. So you purchase the apple. The first apple you purchased. This is the price. Now after paying this 50, you purchase the apple, you consume. Now how do you feel? You are so satisfied because so hungry, right? Anyhow, by eating the apple, you may be satisfied. Now my question is, how much you satisfied? How much you satisfied? You say, sir, it's really worth 100 rupees also. Because you are so hungry. Okay, this is what about the satisfaction of yours. I name this being utility. Is it so? You are really happy? Yes. Will you purchase one more apple, sir? Yeah, give me. That is also 50 rupees. Now tell me, what's your satisfaction? Anyhow, the same second apple, if you are consuming, you don't feel the satisfaction similar to the satisfaction what you attained the first one. It's only worth 80 rupees. First time if I give a comment, how do you feel? Very interesting. You are laughing with so joy. If I do the same comment again, third time, 10th time, I know that fellow always talks the same comment. Right. If I start telling the story that I have already told, you will be saying that I know the end of the story, don't again start the story again. Right. Indeed. The same story gives you more happiness the very first and more love in the very first and second time. It will be reducing at the last time frustration and irritating. Consuming the same commodity again and again, your satisfaction will go down. Your satisfaction will go down. Rather than 100, it's only 80. Third time, if you purchase it for 50, how do you feel? Sir, it's only worth 50. Fourth time, if you pay 50 and purchase the apple, you say, sir, it's only 40. Next time, you don't purchase. Thereafter, you stop purchasing here itself. Now, I'm not talking about the satisfaction, I'm talking about the utility. Utility. Satisfaction is different, and utility is different, usefulness is also different. Anyhow, the utility almost closer to satisfaction, that's why I use the term satisfaction. Utility is closer to satisfaction. I am not talking about usefulness. I am talking about the satisfaction equal to utility is equal to satisfaction. Satisfied. Okay? Satisfied. So many commodities you purchase for your requirement is only out of interest. Impulsive purchases. Out of compulsion. Your friend purchased, so you purchase to demonstrate. Not thinking about its usefulness. So we are not talking about the usefulness, it's only your urge to purchase. Your urge to purchase. Once you purchase, your urge to purchase will be satisfied. Thereafter, you won't be again interested to purchase it. Once you, after consuming, again also you are getting the same satisfaction or same urge to purchase, then that will be useful goods. We are not talking about the useful goods. It's talking about the satisfaction of the urge for purchasing. Urge for purchasing. This is called utility or your urge to get satisfied or urge to purchase. Gradually decreasing one after one. That's why it is called law of diminishing marginal utility. As per the law of diminishing marginal utility, in the very first instant, though you are paying, you feel it's satisfied up to 100 rupees. Subsequently, your satisfaction level is gradually decreasing. Now you won't purchase the apple after this point. If you want to purchase after this point, the price should be 30, only then you purchase. So price decreases, quantity demanded increases because your satisfaction level subsequently will go down, and because of reducing satisfaction level, you are willing to pay lesser money. That's why when the price is decreasing, you are purchasing more, not because of the price cheaper. This is what about the Alfred Marsal's view. What is Alfred Marsal's view? Your satisfaction level will be gradually decreasing. Paying 50, if you are feeling highly satisfied or satisfaction worth rupees 100, you will be willing to purchase. Again also you will be willing to purchase. But the satisfaction level will not be always 100, it will be reducing one after one. After sometimes the satisfaction level goes so lesser than the price. As the satisfaction level is lesser than the price, if you are willing to purchase, means the price should be lesser than the satisfaction level. That's why law of demand works. Price decreases where these two are matching, your purchasing will be stopped. Your purchasing will be stopped. Else you keep purchasing. Else you keep purchasing. That's what about the Alfred Marsal's view. So Alfred Marsal says it's a diminishing marginal utility. As my interest is decreasing, my satisfaction is also decreasing. For the same commodity, I am willing to pay lesser only. Once you offer lesser, the price, the commodity at the lesser price, I am willing to purchase. Else, I don't purchase. That's what about Alfred Marsal's view. But Hicks and Allen says in a different way. One is substitution effect. For example, price of tea and price of tea and quantity demanded of tea. Price of tea and quantity demanded of tea. Price of coffee and quantity demanded of coffee. Okay, coffee. If the price of coffee is say 20, quantity demanded of coffee is say 20 in a year. Price of tea is 10, quantity demanded of tea is 80. Assume that in a month you consume 100 beverages, tea and coffee together, 100, 80 plus 20, 100 beverages you drink in a month. And the price of tea is cheaper comparatively with the coffee. Coffee costs us 20 and tea costs us 10. As tea is cheaper, you always consume tea. Sparingly, you want to taste different items. So, you will go for the coffee. Is that okay? Suddenly, what happens, the tea price remains the same. But the coffee price, we are talking about the coffee here. Coffee price decreases from 20 to 10. So, what you thought, as you usually prefer drinking coffee, but it's costly, so only you prefer only tea. Now the coffee price decreases from 20 to 10, seems to be cheaper than or equivalent to tea. Now rather than consuming more tea, you reduce consumption of tea and you start consuming more coffee. Price decreases, quantity demand of coffee increases because it is due to the substitution effect. Earlier you consumed tea, now you are moving from tea to coffee. You are substituting the consumption of tea to coffee because the coffee's price relatively cheaper than the substitute goods. Relatively cheaper than the substitute goods. Price of the commodity, I am not talking about the price of the related commodity. In the previous class, I have discussed this one, okay, determinants of demand. In determinants of demand, we discussed this one, price of the related commodity. In price of the related commodity, what did I discuss is very important, right? When it comes for the tea and coffee, this is called competing goods or substitute goods. Okay. In that case, I am talking about one of the products. The price of the other commodity changes. Price of the other commodity. Price of the related commodity. Okay. But in this case, I am talking about the coffee, and coffee's price only changes. I am talking about the coffee. Price of coffee decreases. Price of coffee decreases from 20 to 10. The substitute product remains the same. The price of the substitute product price remains the same. Substitute products price though remains same because of our product's cost reduces. Comparatively, this seems to be cheaper than the substitute product. So you will now shift from tea to coffee. This is called substitution effect. Price increase of our product, coffee, makes the other commodity cheaper and vice versa. Here the other commodity becomes costlier, right? Because of coffee being cheaper, you thought that tea seems to be costlier. Is it really tea being costlier? No, the tea's price remains the same. Because of the reduction of the coffee's price, that tea's price seems to be costlier. So, those consuming the tea now shifting from tea to coffee. This is called substitution effect as per the Higgs and Allen. Higgs and Allen. You have to understand the difference. Higgs and Allen defines or depends, he says that demand comes downward. No, he validates the statements and gives the reasons for the statement in two angles. One angle is the substitution effect. The another angle is income effect. What is called income effect? If the price of the commodity being 100, quantity demanded being 100. Price of the quantity demanded being 50. Now it reduces from 100 to 50. What happens then? Earlier, you need to have how much in your pocket? 100 units per unit being 100, it means you need to have 10,000 rupees. Now the price decreases to 50. As the price decreases to 50 into 100, it seems to be only 5,000 rupees is required. It means the surplus being considered as income you save. Because of the decrease in the price, if you are purchasing the same quantity, you have lots of savings in your hand. That savings is equated with the income. Higher the income, more will be the demand, right? So the price decrease is equated with the savings, or ultimately it's an income line. It's ultimately income line. Is that okay? So price decreases increases the income. How? Savings. That savings is ultimately equates with increase in income. Because of increase in income, that consumer is now capable of purchasing more. Why is purchasing more? Because fund available is not enough to purchase more than 100 earlier. Now the same fund available is capable of purchasing more quantity because his purchasing power is increasing. The purchasing power increase angle is named as income effect. Income effect. So these are the three. Alfred Marshall says, why do I expect the price to be decreased? Because my satisfaction level one after one will be decreasing. So I am willing to pay only lesser for the second commodity than the first one. That's what about law of diminishing marginal utility, Alfred Marshall. When it comes to the Higgs and Allen, two aspects are there. One is substitution effect. The commodity what I consume currently may reduce its value. It means it's a substitute product may not be changing any value, but seems to be having cheaper or costlier relative to the product I'm consuming. That's what about substitution effect. The price increase of my commodity, coffee, makes the other commodity tea cheaper. So I'll shift from coffee to tea. There is no price change in tea. There's a price change of my commodity only. My commodity's price increases, makes the other product's price seems to be cheaper, not really cheaper. And vice versa. Price decrease of my product, my commodity, makes the other product costlier. Of course, there is no change in that other commodity. So that will also be having the impact of law of demand as per substitution effect propounded by Higgs and Allen. Higgs and Allen discusses the other way also. Earlier the price is higher, so 100. So here 100, I am in need of 10,000 rupees. As the price decreases from 100 to 50, with an available fund I am able to purchase more. Purchasing power is increasing. Or for the same number of quantity what I supposed to purchase earlier, right, is only 5,000 rupees. There is 5,000 savings. That 5,000 savings is actually to be increase in income. That increase in income leads to the higher purchases. That will also be one of the reasons. Rational for the law of demand. And earlier a car rupees 10 lakhs. Okay, I could still remember in 1990s, 1995. Okay, for constructing a house property cost us 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs. And by the same time, for purchasing a car also 10 lakhs. Okay, 10 lakhs. When? In 1995. Now, this is house property, this is car. Now, the same house property which was purchased, constructed for 10 lakhs some years ago, now we can spend 50 lakhs to construct. But the car price is still 10 lakhs. Because of the modern equipments and invention and modernization or modern equipments, whatever it may be, this makes the car manufacture cheaper, higher demand. Okay, but the house property is not so because land is limited always. So it's very costly. Now, we are capable of purchasing, earlier we are not capable of purchasing both because both may be 10 lakhs. Now, we are capable of purchasing car better than the house property because car becomes cheaper. So, wherever you see, you will now end up with purchasing the car, at least second hand, nowadays. So, the price of the car decreases, makes the newcomers to purchase their car. So, the price seems to be costlier, means not affordable by most of the people. Now, it's cheaper. Most of the new people also finding it easy to purchase, it's affordable. So, newcomers will come for purchasing the commodity. That also increases the quantity demanded. Third aspect. Price decrease brings new consumer. Fourth, if the commodity has multiple uses, different uses, yes or no? Yes, the commodity has multiple uses. In that case, okay. If the price decreases, this may be used for n number of purposes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, like n number of purposes it can be used. If the price is increased, we will use only for one purpose, only one purpose. A good example for this be milk. Milk. Okay, milk has multiple purpose. Okay, number one being baby feed, right? So made food for the kids. Okay, newborn, right? And if the milk is very cheap, available as and when you are in need at the cheapest price, then you purchase the milk for the newborn, for coffee and tea, for snacks, for what? Sweets, and for preservation, for whatever the purpose you can use, you can purchase and use. If the milk price is very high and not available, then you cut short for all other uses, you start use only for one need. Okay, so when it comes for the salt, okay, come on, tell me, will it have more use or less use? Less use. If the salt is offered at the cheapest rate, will you purchase for your coffee, for your sweet? Put a spoon of salt in my coffee because salt is cheaper. Will it be possible? No. So if the salt is not having the multiple uses, then it will not play any role due to the changes in the price. Okay. Whether the price of the salt increases or decreases, you don't purchase it as you wish. But in the case of milk, can be used for one specific purpose or a number of uses. And if the price is higher, you will be sparingly using for the needed purpose. If the price is decreasing, you can use it for multiple purposes also. So that will also be a role. Used for varied purposes if price falls. Used for limited use if the price increases. So these are the four aspects you have to keep in your mind related to the reason for law of demand. Alfred Marshall's view, law of diminishing marginal utility. Hicks and Allen, where we have two views, one is substitution effect. If the price of the commodity increases, the other substitute price seems to be cheaper, not really decreasing, but seems to be cheaper. So you substitute from your product the new one, or vice versa. Another one is income effect, also propounded by Hicks and Allen. As the price decreases, your purchasing power increases. You are capable of purchasing more unit with the available amount. If you are able to purchase more, means your income is increasing. That's why it's called income effect. So the price decrease is equated with the income effect. More the income, more will be the purchase quantity possible. So this is called income effect or increasing the purchasing power. If the price decreases, many of the customers not capable of purchasing now becoming capable of purchasing, start purchasing the commodity now. So new consumers will come in because of decreasing the price. Will also be a reason for the law of demand. The next one is the commodity may have the different uses. If that case, the price decreases makes the commodity to be used for a number of different uses. So to use it for a number of different uses, you have to purchase more, else vice versa. Will happen. Is that okay? Come on, make a note of it. Rational for the law of demand. Of demand, price and quantity demanded. If price increases, quantity demanded decreases. If price decreases, quantity demanded increases. This is called law of demand. Okay, law of demand. And exception, it should not be this way. That's called exception. Price and quantity. If price increases, quantity demanded also increases. Price decreases, quantity demanded also decreases. This is called exception case. In what other scenario the law of demand will not work, or this way it will work? We can list down that here. Number one is conspicuous goods. Conspicuous goods. Okay. Do you have 500 rupees and 1000 rupees, 2000 rupees in your bureau or locker or outside? Your 500 rupees or 2000 rupees in your home. Is it in bureau or outside the bureau? In bureau, right? What happens if 500 and 2000 rupees is also announced as e-money? It is not, hereafter will not be working. Will that be inside the bureau or outside the bureau? Same happens. Say you don't have the 1000 rupees currencies now, right? The same logic happens here also. The gold, diamond, whatever it may be, will be more valuable and will be within the locker only when it is valuable. You will purchase those things only when it is valuable. Gold price is now increasing. Then you will start purchasing. Right? It's what about the conspicuous goods. So when the goods are costly, the conspicuous means luxury. Luxury goods will always be valuable and will have more demand only the price is higher. Some people are brand image, right? I want to purchase only the branded commodity. The unbranded may be 500 rupees, but willing to pay 5,000 rupees also if it is being the branded. And the branded, they want to disclose as well as demonstrate in front of friends and relatives also. That will also be called as conspicuous goods or conspicuous necessities. So this is called conspicuous goods. Diamond, gold, platinum. Okay. This is propounded by Veblen, that's why it's called Veblen effect. And especially prestigious goods. Prestigious goods. Conspicuous necessities is slightly different. Also luxury. I want to show luxury. Okay, luxury. The unbranded shirt may be 500, but I want to show that I'm wearing the branded shirt. Seems to be very costly in front of my friends. It's a need for your ego. It is different. It's really valuable. It's not so, but you want to show that you are always wearing superior quality goods. Conspicuous necessities. Demonstration effect. You want to demonstrate that I have the fine TV and branded refrigerators and high cool AC air conditioners. Like all these things are called conspicuous necessities. Slight difference is there between conspicuous goods and conspicuous necessities. So this goods itself a luxury one and prestigious goods. Here you want to show, but sometimes later the price may go down. No problem with that. Second point is Giffen goods. Sir Robert Giffen thought to investigate whether the law of demand will work always. So he went and did a practical investigation in South Africa, in African countries. While he did this analysis and find that the law of demand is not working there. And he found that it's an exception to the law of demand. And then he came to a conclusion there are some cases where we don't have the law of demand working properly. And that scenario where he investigated is that just comparing the bread and meat. Actually, he started investigating the price of the bread and the demand of the bread in his investigations in African country. Price of the bread, when it is increasing, quantity demanded of bread is also increasing surprisingly. If the price of the bread is decreasing, the quantity demanded of the bread is also decreasing. Got surprised seeing this finding because as per the law of demand, this is the correct one, right? He wants to investigate in African countries and he just took the bread and its price as a study and find it's not working there. And a deeper analysis, he surprised to know one more fact that when the bread price is increasing, his purchasing power is lesser. Purchasing power is lesser. But the workers working there feeling very hungry, not capable of buying some other quality product. So they want to dump their stomach with the cheaper version of commodity, which is the bread. They purchase 2 loaves of bread. Usually they have to eat 1 loaf and some side dish, but they are not capable of purchasing the side dish. The side dish is nothing but meat. So that seems to be costly. They don't have the sufficient power to purchase the meat because already with bread itself very costly. Their wages is sufficient enough to purchase only the bread. Bread alone will not fill their stomach, so they want to purchase some additional bread. When the bread price is cheaper, they purchase 1 loaf of bread and they have lots of surplus fund available. They now fill their stomach with the superior quality food like meat. So, because of price decrease, they save the money. No, that money is used for purchasing the meat. That is sufficient for their filling their stomach. But when the price is higher, the surplus fund is not capable of purchasing the sufficient meat to fill their stomach, so they want to fill the stomach somehow. They purchase some extra bread, right? Loaf of bread and they had the food, right? Price increase reduces the purchasing power. Naturally, right? So the price increases from existing one to the next, reduces their purchasing power. So they have to depend on inferior goods only. Inferior goods with no substitutes. They don't have the option to purchase the meat. They purchase only the inferior goods. Okay, and occupy substantial place in consumer budget. Only the inferior goods. If the price of the inferior good decreases, they have the purchasing power. They will go for the superior commodity like meat. So while applying the law of demand for inferior goods, of course, this law of demand will not work. This is a given effect. Veblen is just the opposite. When the price of the commodity is higher, that is a prestigious goods and willing to purchase more will come under consequence goods. Or I want to demonstrate that I am capable of buying with the highest price than the others to demonstrate or my ego satisfaction. I can pay more though the price is lesser. That's called conspicuous necessities. Apart from that, we have some other reason. Future expectation about the price. Future expectation about the price. For example, let's see here. During drought, the situation is drought. We don't have rain and running short of water and all, and definitely harvesting not possible. We cannot grow more paddy. People expect that the price of food grains would rise in future because it's a drought situation. We don't have proper irrigation. We don't have the cultivation. Also, we definitely end up with some problem with food grains. If food grains is not available in a matter of 2 or 3 months later, it may be shooting up. That is what about expectation. I imagine so. Will it definitely happen? I'm not sure. But I expect that may happen. Because of this reason, I purchased today's. Though the price is increasing, I purchased today's. Demand more at the current price itself. I purchased today's. Because tomorrow the price is still higher. 10 rupees I purchase. 10 rupees I purchase 100 quantities. Okay. And 12 rupees, how many quantities I purchase? 200 quantities. Why? I expect the price still go up to 20. Rather than waiting for some more days to pay 20 rupees per commodity, let us purchase today's for 12. Here the price increases, yet the quantity method also increases, where the law of demand will not work. And demand for necessities for life. See, during the COVID scenario, no, the oximeter, to test the oxygen level in your body, we have the oximeter. You might have seen that, right? During the COVID. I had to purchase 3 oximeters. And even one is enough. I purchased 3 oximeters. Every oximeter cost us 2,000 rupees. And for 3, I paid around 6,000 rupees. Just after sometimes the COVID got settled, right? Now it's decreasing, right? I just investigated what's the price of the oximeter. It's surprising, only 300 rupees. Right. Despite the higher prices, I purchased more. Today the price is lesser, but I don't purchase. We don't purchase because now the question is our life worth 6,000? Doesn't so? So we'll be willing to pay even 60,000 also by the time. But now it's not required. For the life necessaries, price is not a matter. Even the price increases, if it is an emergency for life savings, we will purchase at higher cost. And speculative goods is nothing but like stocks and shares. Okay. In the case of stock market, you might have seen that bull market, bear market. What is called bull market? Okay, the bull market says that the price of the share price hereafter will increase. So hereafter increase means it's only a speculation. You imagine the price will go up, but there is no guarantee that the price will go up. But we speculate, it's only an imagination. So we'll imagine the price will go up. As the price will go up, we can make huge profit later, so we'll start purchasing today. So that may also be a reason. And for the stocks and share, this law of demand will not work. Right. Then 7th one is impulsive purchase. See, while purchasing, we have to think whether it's worth the purchasing or not. Is it worth to paying the price or not? We don't think. Only out of interest. If my friend brings a calculator with a some extra feature, the next moment I want to purchase. Right. I've seen a pencil or pen, erasable, with the erasable facility was there in pen, I think so. Have you heard about that? Huh? The next day, my daughter came and asked me to purchase immediately now itself. 100 rupees only that. 100 rupees to 200 rupees. Only for erasing 100 rupees extra. I don't know, it's only 10 rupees spent. They added another 90 rupees or extra for that extra feature. Sometimes later, no, the passion has gone out. Okay, now it's worthless. That pen itself worthless. What happens when you go to hotels and restaurants? Okay, you order everything, you feel comfortable, you felt happy, you completed food, right? Then the next thing happens what? A photograph or some image will come showing a beautiful deserts, ice creams, chocolates, whatever it may. You feel complete, but yet you will start ordering, I want the faluda. Okay. Now what happens in the mall? The D-Mart or Rails Mart, you could have purchased everything. You go with the list. Usually you won't go with the list in the case of mall. Okay. D-Mart or Rails Mart, whatever it may be. You thought to purchase for 1,000, but it ends with 5,000 or 10,000 rupees always. If you don't know, next time you ask your parents, they will tell you. Okay. So you just go. Okay. See, when I go there with my daughter, she was studying 3rd standard or 2nd standard by the time. Whatever she sees in the mart, that will be packed. Okay, just behind her, I just replace that again. And once we reach the home, she will find all this. I purchased this, nothing will be there. Now, how will it be there? Okay, so we'll order everything, completed ordering, while billing in the D-Mart or Late Mart, near the billing counter, you may see a number of different chocolates and other flavors. Immediately we grab two. Okay, have you thought whether it's needed or not? No, because it now induces you to purchase. That is called impulsive purchases. Impulsive purchase. Consumers sometimes irrational, and we don't bother about whether it is complete information we have to purchase it or not. But we can't tempted to purchase, so we will purchase. In these are the 7 scenarios, the law of demand will not work. Let me summarize again. 7 scenarios. So, exceptions to law of demand. The law of demand will not work when, if the goods being the conspicuous goods, or if the goods being the inferior goods as per the given goods propounded by Sir Robert Giffen, or for economic conspicuous necessities, or we expect the future price of the product will increase, or okay, this may be a demand for necessaries, or it may be a speculative goods, or it may be impulsive purchases. In these scenarios, the law of demand will not work. Is that okay? Expansion and contraction in demand. If the price being 5, as per the demand schedule, if the price being 5, quantity demanded being 10, and 4, the 15, if the price being 3, the quantity demanded being 20, and goes on, the price is 1 and it is 60. So if I plot that in graph, this is called demand curve, DD curve. We are aware about that. The DD curve should be slopes downward from left to right. From left to right. Right. Let's see here. If the price decreases from 5 to 3, that leads to increase in the quantity demanded from 10 to 20. Am I right? So what happens here? If the price being 5 means here it should be quantity demanded 10. This is the scenario. This is the scenario. And the price decreases to 3, the quantity demanded being 20. So this will be the new scenario. Isn't it? So the curve moves from here to here. This is called expansion in demand. This is called expansion in demand. If I plot this way, Okay. If the price is 5, the quantity demanded being only 10. 5 and 10. If the price is 3, the quantity demanded being 20 maybe here. How the movement happens? How the movement happens? From top to bottom, left to right, along the DD curve. Along the DD curve. Okay, the movement happens here. The blue color is the DD curve. This change also has the impact on the DD curve only. And that too, the curve slopes downward, upside. So downside slope will be there. The arrow will show it's an expansion. The arrow shows that it's an expansion. Is that okay? So expansion in demand is due to result in change in price. And that the movement happens along with the demand curve. Okay. If the curve shows this way, then it is called expansion. This is called expansion. Okay. Expansion is otherwise named as increase in yeah, increase in increase in demand or increase in quantity demanded. Okay, which is correct one? Yeah, increase in quantity demanded is correct one. It's not increase in demand. This is called increase in quantity demanded. Increase in quantity demanded is named as expansion. And then the increase in quantity demanded happens due to change in the price, termed as expansion. This change will have movement along the demand curve. Movement along the demand curve. Yes, just think over in this angle. If the price moves from 2 to 4, the quantity demanded decreases from 35 to 50. When the price is 2, the quantity demanded being 35, probably here 35. If the price increases to 4, reverse angle we are thinking, the quantity demanded becomes 15. So if it is being 14, then this will be 15 here. This will have upside arrow. This upside arrow represents contraction in demand. Demand is contracted. Contraction. Okay. Contraction in demand. Is that clear? Contraction in demand. This also happens movement along the curve, and this will be named as decrease in quantity demanded. This is called decrease in quantity demanded. Clear? Okay. Let's see here. I have given the example here in detail. Only that aspects. Okay. Here you just see expansion. Price decreases from 4 to 1, leads to quantity demanded increases from 15 to 60. This two aspects only posted here are plotted here, and this shows a downward movement of the curve, and this is named as expansion in demand. Expansion in demand. And in case of the other way, if the price increases from 2 to 5, quantity demanded decreases from 15 to 10, and then the curve shows an upward movement, is called contraction in demand. I explained that in detail here itself, so you have to understand the term expansion and contraction in demand. This is just due to the change in the price of the commodity, and this change will have the impact over the curve itself, in the whole demand curve. If the change happens from top to bottom, downside movement, then it's called expansion. Bottom to up, then it's called contraction of demand. Then expansion can be named as increase in quantity demanded. The contraction is named as decrease in quantity demanded. Decrease in quantity demanded. Come on, take a note of it. We will now deal with increase or decrease in demand. Increase or decrease in demand. See, let's have a look over this one. Demand schedule. If the price of the commodity being 5 rupees, quantity demanded in terms of unit being 10. If the price decreases to 4, the quantity demanded increases to 15. Simultaneously, if the price reaches to 1, quantity demanded increases to 60. Is that okay? Price decreases, quantity demanded increases. Quantity demanded increases. Is that okay? Any doubts here? In this scenario, the income of the consumer being 5,000. If the income of the same consumer decreases to 4,000 rupees because of layoff, some reason, or he shifts the job, suddenly the income available in his hand is reduced. So for the same 5 rupees, earlier he purchased 10 units. Now, because of the reduced income, he cannot afford to purchase 10. So he reduces his purchasing commodity which is 8. Is that okay? So for the 5 rupees itself, he could have purchased 10 if the income is 10,000, so 5,000 rupees. If the income reduces to 4,000 rupees, he purchases only 8. Rather than that way, if the income increases to 6,000, he could purchase 12 units. See, if I usually purchase some commodity in a grocery mart, I went and purchased for soap. Usually I purchase a pack of 3. Suddenly what happens? The other day I purchased 6. Sir, why do you purchase 6? Sir, my income is doubled. Do I want to visit very often? Anyway, I will keep all the 6 packed in my home. So I can reduce travel. Suddenly, rather than purchasing 3, I purchase only 2. Sir, what happens only 2, sir? Layoff, sir. I want to purchase only for the emergency requirement. I will purchase it later. Layoff, I don't have a job. So my income will determine the quantity to be purchased here. For the same 5 rupees. For the same 5 rupees, as per the change in income, I could either purchase higher or lesser. Right. Now, this scenario, if I plot the graph, this will look like this one. Okay. This one, this blue color. This is the existing one. This is the existing one. Clear? Let's see. Let's see here. This one, for the existing case, this will be the curve. This is the existing one. When the price is 5, quantity demanded is 10. 5, quantity demanded is 10. When the price is 1, the quantity demanded is 60. This one. If the income increases to 6,000, for the same 5 rupees, rather than purchasing 10, I am purchasing 12 units, 2 units extra. Because I am capable of purchasing more, because my purchasing power is increasing, not due to the price of the commodity, due to the change in my income. As my income increases, I am capable of purchasing more. For the same 5 rupees, earlier I purchased only 10, now I am capable of purchasing 12. And when it is 1, I am capable of purchasing 65 also. If I plot these two, this price and this quantity demanded, the new curve will be the green color. This is the new one. So what happens? The blue color one, DD curve, is the existing demand curve. Because of the change in income, a new demand curve emerges above the existing one, DD1, D1. The demand curve itself, okay, shift from left to right. This is the old one, this is the new one. This is due to increase in what? Increase in demand. This is called increase in demand. This is not increase in quantity demanded, this is called increase in demand. The increase in demand shifts curve to the top. Okay, the curve moves to the right side, to the right side. This is called increase in demand. Rightward shift in demand curve. So the increase in demand is due to other than the price of the commodity, due to other than the price of the commodity. So you now understand the determinants of demand is categorized into two varieties. One is price of the commodity, another one is other than the price of the commodity. All other than the price of the commodity will involve the shift in the demand curve will be called as increase in demand or decrease in demand. Increase in demand or decrease in demand. This is increase in demand. Rather than income being increasing to 6,000, if it decreases to 4,000, what happens then? Okay, in this scenario. This is called decrease in demand. The line will shift to the downward, leftward shift in demand curve. So the income being 5,000 now reduced to 4,000 rupees. Once the income is reduced from 5,000 to 4,000, for the same 5 rupees, there is no change in the price of the commodity. But my capability of purchasing quantity reduced from 10 to 8. Reduced from 10 to 8. And for 1 rupee, earlier I purchased 60, but now I purchase only 35. So the blue color is the existing one or old one, and the red color is the new one because of the change in my income. As the curve shifts to the left side, it represents the downward shift or decrease in demand. Decrease in demand. So you now need to understand the entire block here by understanding this way. Okay. Now let's see here. Increase or decrease in demand. Result of change in factors. Results of change in factors what? Other than the price. Determinants of demand may be a function of various factors. One is price of the commodity. Then other than the price of the commodity. Okay, others. Others means price of the related commodity, income of the consumer, taste and preferences, and advertisement costs spent. A number of other factors are there. No, for all other factors will be grouped in one angle. Price of the commodity for which I am talking will be grouped as one angle. Here we have expansion and contraction, but in this case we have increase or decrease, is that okay? Now the expansion and contraction will be having the movement along the curve, along the DD curve. And when it comes for the increase or decrease, it will lead to shift in the curve. Okay, shift in the DD curve. Is that okay? You understand that? And in case of expansion, the movement may be upside to downside. In case of contraction, the movement from downside to upside. In case of shift, in the case of increase, the demand curve will shift to that side. Okay. In case of decrease, the demand curve shifts shifts to left side. Is that okay? This is called decrease in demand. Okay. This is otherwise called change in demand. Okay. Demand schedule is there. Demand curve is there. This one, blue color is the existing one. Green color represents increase in demand. Curve shifts to the right side, right? Demand. This shifts to the right, right side. Red color means the red color is meant for decrease in demand, and then the curve shifts to the left. Is that okay? Come on, make a note of it. Make a note of this. Elasticity of demand. As you are aware about the impact in quantity demanded with respect to the price. Am I right? As there is a change in the price, definitely there will be change in the quantity demand. That will be called as law of demand. Now the next question is, what is the magnitude of the impact in quantity demanded with respect to the change in price? Will be studied in elasticity of demand. Will be studied in elasticity of demand. If the price is 10, quantity demanded is also 10. If the price decreases to 8, the quantity demanded increases to 12. Is that okay? If I plot that in graph, let's see. This is price, this is quantity demanded. Okay. This will be 8, 10, 12. Similarly here it is 8, 10 and 12. If the price is 10, quantity demanded is 10. Price is also 10, quantity demanded also 10. Suddenly the price decreases to 8, then quantity demanded is 12. Price is 8, quantity demanded is 12. If I connect these two, this will be the demand curve. This is called increase in quantity demanded. Expansion, increase in quantity. Is that okay? Listen. The magnitude of change this one, okay, the magnitude of change of this one, this is change in price. Change in price. This one, change in quantity demanded. If the change in price is equivalent to change in quantity demanded, then this is called elasticity of demand with unit value. Elasticity of demand with respect to the price, EP, is equal to 1. How do I calculate? Very simple. For calculating the elasticity of price, okay, the formula being change in quantity divided by quantity multiplied with price divided by change in price. That's the formula. I'll feed here. Change in quantity is 10 to 12, right? So 2 should be the numerator. Base is the existing one. 10 is in the denominator. And the existing P being 10 and the change in P is 2 because it changes from 10 to 8. So 2. If I solve, then I'll get 1. This is called unit elasticity. Unit elasticity means the magnitude of change in the price will have the same magnitude change in the quantity demanded. They both will be same. If you plot in the graph, you can see the change in the y-axis as well as x-axis will be the same value. Okay, clear? This one is also equal to this one, more or less. Now, this is called unit elasticity. The next one is price and quantity demanded. If the price is 10, quantity demanded also 10. Suddenly price decreases to 8, but quantity demanded increases only by 1, 11. From this it is very clear the change in price is higher, the change in quantity demanded is lesser. Then it is not unit, less than unit. This will be called less than unit. If I plot that in a graph, let's see in the graph. Okay. In the graph. So I start with the 8 number here. 8, 10. Similarly here, this one is 8, this one is 8, 10 and 12. 8, 10 and 12. So this will be rupees, this will be units. When the price is 10, quantity mandate is also 10. When the price decreases to 8, the quantity mandate is only 11. If I connect these two dots seems to be steep. Am I right? Seems to be steep. Let's see here. This is the existing one. This is the new one. Okay, new one. From this, it is very clear. The change in price is higher. The change in price is higher. Okay, you don't need to mark all this, but you have to understand the logic here. The change in price is so much, but the change in quantity is very less. Then it is not unit, it's less than unit. Either you can name this being less than unit, less than unit. Okay, less than 1 or unit. Elasticity of price, elasticity of demand with respect to the price, are named as inelastic. 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 As per this formula, change in price being change in quantity being 1 divided by existing quantity being 10. I just apply this formula in all the locations. So 1 by 10 multiplied with 10 by 2. Now the ultimate value is 0.5. It is less than 1. That's why it is called less than unit or less than 1, or not so elastic, inelastic, slightly elastic. So elasticity of demand, where the link between the quantity mandate, the change in quantity mandate as well as change in the price is going to be studied. Is that magnitude or same or more than or less than is going to be studied here. In the very first instant, I just gave the example that the magnitude of change in the quantity mandate as well as the price change is equal, same change. The second illustration, I just made the price change is higher than the quantity mandate change. So then that will be named as less than 1 or inelastic. By the time the demand curve shows steep fall. Here it is not so steep, this is very steep. And the next one being price and quantity demanded. The price being 10 and the price changes by only 1 rupee, but quantity demanded changes from 10 to 12. Here the quantity demanded will be having more change than the price change. Then it should be more than 1. Right? Anyhow, we will just draw the diagram and understand here. Let's see. Right. So in price as well as in units. In units, we'll start with 10 and 12. Here, similarly, 8. Okay, 1 second. I'll start with the 8. Okay, 8, 10, 12. Similarly, here 8, 10. When the price is 10, the quantity mandate is also 10. The price decreases to 9, then the quantity mandate is 12. Okay, the quantity mandate is 12. So if I connect these two dots, it's not so steep. It's just a slanting, right? Now I will connect this way also. I will connect this way. Let's see. Okay. And this is another area. This change, price change is lesser, but quantity mandate changes will be higher. Then this will be named as elasticity of price more than 1. More than 1. More than 1. And this will be named as elastic. This will be named as elastic. This one is called unit elastic. Don't get confused. This is called unit elastic. This one is called elastic. Elastic. If the quantity mandate change is higher than the price change, then it's called elastic. Yes, it is inelastic. Then the another aspect. So one is exact, one is less, one is higher. Now we'll deal the extreme cases. Let's see here now. In extreme cases, price and quantity demanded. Price is 10 and decreases to 8, but quantity demanded 10 remains 10. No change at all. There is no change means no elastic. Then it will be named as inelastic. Okay, inelastic. Not even single movement is there means perfectly inelastic, which is not practically possible, but we understand for the education purpose. Perfectly inelastic. This will be perfectly inelastic. Okay. Then here also I can finish up the diagram with this calculation. So the change in quantity being 2 divided by existing quantity 10 into change in price being 1 from the base of 10, 10 by 1, the answer being 2 will be the answer. This is more than 1. That's why we can call that being more than 1. This is more than 1. Is that okay? More than 1. And in this scenario, I just draw that in diagram. Let's see that. Now, I will plot here. The value being 8, 10. Here, 8 and 10. When the price is 10, the quantity demanded also 10. The price decreases to 8, by the time also it is 10. If I connect these two dots, you will get what? A straight line, vertical line. Always remember, if it is a vertical line, this represents purely or perfectly inelastic. There is no any elastic, right? So perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic. Okay, inelastic. Now, what about the answer? Elasticity of demand with respect to the price. Apply this formula. Change in quantity being 0 divided by existing quantity multiplied with the existing price divided by change in price. Now 0 by 2. What is the answer for 0 by 2? 0. So 0 answer. So inelastic. Perfectly inelastic where we have 0. The last block. How it could be then in a reverse case. There will not be change in the price but tremendous change in the quantity demanded. During the COVID, some medicinal equipment may be sold at exorbitant rate and demand could also be not fulfilled by the time. Right, let's see here. Price remains same 10. Quantity demanded earlier it is 12, 10. Now the price the same but quantity demanded is increasing to 12. This is the scenario I am going to draw here. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Now, this is 10, here also 10, 12, okay. Here, this is 10 and then 12. This is unit, this is rupees. When the price is 10, the quantity demanded also 10, suddenly it increases to, quantity demanded increases to 12 without changing the price. If I connect these two dots, it will be horizontal line. So, in case of horizontal line, the answer could be what? Okay, perfectly elastic. Elastic, right? So, if it is the change in quantity demanded is higher, then it's elastic. But exorbitantly higher, then it's perfectly inelastic. Sorry, elastic. Perfectly elastic. Okay. Now, perfectly elastic. Perfectly elastic. Now, what about the elasticity of demand with respect to the price in terms of units? Change in quantity being 2 from the base 10 and the change in the price, existing price being 10 and the change in price being 0. If I solve, then it is 2 by 0. What is the answer for 2 by 0? So the answer being infinity, exorbitantly high. So these are the things that are studied in elasticity of demand. Magnitude of change in quantity demanded as well as the magnitude of change in price will be studied here this week. Let's see here. What are the 5 aspects we have studied? You can make a summary here. One is unit elasticity. Another one is more than 1. Another one is less than 1. Another one is 0, another one is infinity. These are the elasticity. Now, how about the DD curve? In case of unit, this will be showing the exact x-axis and y-axis change. More than one, okay, price will be lesser and quantity change will be higher. This will be more than one. Less than one, price is higher. Price is higher. The change in price is higher than the quantity change. Then this will be steep. This will be steep. And if it is being 0, naturally vertical line, and in case of infinity, it is a horizontal line. Okay. Then, how about the value? Value. Value is nothing but elasticity of demand with respect to the price. EP. Change in quantity divided by existing quantity. Existing price divided by change in price is the formula here. And it is unit means it should be 1. More than 1 means it should be more than 1, okay, but less than infinity is anywhere between this one. Less than 1 means it should be anywhere between 0 to 1. Probably it may be 2 like, it may be 0.5 like, imaginary number. And when the this one happens perfectly inelastic, here it is 0, perfectly elastic, then it is infinity. Now, how do I term this? This is unit elasticity. This will be more than 1. More than 1 are simply elastic. Elastic. And this one is named as inelastic. Okay. 0 is representing as perfectly inelastic. And this will be representing perfectly elastic. For the entire thing, we have to understand this summary. The last block is a summary. That's more than enough. You don't need to read all these things, and everything could be summarized in the last block. Is that okay? Come on, make a note of it.